In another developing story out in the ACC and expansion, UNC and NC State might be tied together, and that is huge if you're thinking in terms of the SEC, the Big Ten, and especially the Big 12, the conferences that could be players to get a UNC or an NC State who weren't very happy when SMU, Cal, and Stanford were added to that conference. With Florida State looking as though it's going to exit via either a settlement or scot-free, getting out, winning a lawsuit, I am confident there are other teams that are going to follow that format. In that case, NC State, UNC will be at the forefront of that. We already heard rumors that NC State and Virginia Tech have reached out to the Big 12 Conference. Maybe they will get ahead of the game because they are tied now, maybe, to UNC. This is from the News Observer, and this report says that the BOG, the Board of Governors at UNC, is meeting, and they're currently in talks to make it tougher for these two schools to operate separate from one another, almost creating a package deal, or as close as they can get to a package deal, to ensure that wherever UNC goes, wherever NC State goes, the other is treated fairly. Maybe the biggest reason for this is that NC State has a little less luster than UNC. See, the SEC and the Big Ten, there are rumors at least want to expand TV markets and see value in what UNC could provide educationally, academically, TV market, whatever it may be, to expand a footprint. For NC State, they don't get that because they're not the flagship brand. You don't want them left behind. You're the Board of Governors in North Carolina. You probably want to keep these two schools together, and that's the current conversation that's happening right now. The biggest part of this, though, is that the Board of Governors want to propose that they can block either team from changing conferences, or can almost help them navigate through major conference realignment. With the stakes being so high, there are caveats in these conversations that before UNC and NC State could do so, they have to come up with a financial plan of how they will succeed. Again, this according to newsobserver.com, how they will succeed moving forward financially. That's tough. What it really means for the athletic future, according to the site, is not totally clear. In theory, it becomes more complicated for any state school to leave its current athletics conference for another if this proposal is taken on. Some of the questions and answers this piece brings up are key when you discuss whether or not the Big 12 can land an NC State. I love the idea of Virginia Tech or NC State being catalysts in these conversations. They jump out. They don't wait on UNC or Virginia to move. And then, we have to follow them because our Board of Governors said we have to. And then the SEC says, well, we're not taking NC State because we don't want you. And we won't take UNC because you have to be with NC State. And where the Big 12 I feel like fits into that is if NC State gets to the forefront of this, and the Board of if the Board of Governors decide these two universities, by rule, we make it a bylaw, these two universities cannot go without one another, then I don't think NC State can go to the SEC. I don't think they can go to the Big Ten either. I don't think those conferences would risk it just because they want UNC. And that gives you an opportunity for the Big 12 to create that third power conference. Look, this league needs something. If the ACC falls apart, and in a wild scenario of the 18 teams, 9 go to the SEC, 9 go to the Big 10, the Big 12 falls apart and dies. That's never going to happen, but we have to start talking about how the Big 12 can parlay better brands, can somehow land better brands like UNC or Virginia. And maybe the key to doing that is when these Board of Governors say, you school can't move without your little brother, whoever the little brother is here. So what exactly is the Board of Governors considering? It's considering a proposal that would give it the power to stop or delay a state school from moving one conference, the ACC, to another. More specifically, the board is considering amending its policy manual to require schools to provide advance notice of a potential conference move. And again, a financial plan associated with the move. All that from News Observer. That to me reeks of, hey, we know what's coming. We fear that one of these schools is going to get left behind, and they wouldn't be having those talks if they didn't understand UNC to the SEC or UNC to the Big Ten is a legitimate concern or a legitimate case. And with that being known, they want to protect NC State. They could protect NC State to the point of denying UNC an opportunity to go to the SEC because the SEC doesn't want the Wolfpack. And in that scenario, the Big 12 can luck out. There is a way in which these legalities, in which these boards and these committees could cancel out programs from joining larger conferences and ultimately benefit the Big 12. This is what creates the opportunity for UNC, for Virginia to land in this conference, along with Virginia Tech and along with NC State. For Clemson to get left behind, or Miami to get left behind as Florida State and Notre Dame try to work out where they're going to go in expansion. I know it sounds like a long shot, but there are small things, there are semantics. There's enough to hold on to for me to think that if these conversations keep happening, the Big 12 can benefit from those when the SEC and the Big 10 say, that's too much headache. We're not going to do it. And then we win. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Come back tomorrow. We'll talk more basketball and football and baseball, maybe. Yeah, even baseball. This has been and always will be. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Locked on. Thanks again for making it your first listen every single day. Dose grande.